I'm gonna do two things at the same time, see how we go here. I want to do a little bit of a Zoom call and TikTok at the same time, trying to kill two birds, one stone. I want to go over a couple of things that I came across um, my desk today. We're dealing with the aftermath of the elections in blue states. And the Democrats are really revved up. They think they've done something. But that's just like a Republican winning in a red state is high, more likely than not. So they haven't really done anything. They held ground. What they did, they went further to the left, which hopefully will help us out um, on the sense that the governor of New York now, um, the race, see how it go. Can Governor Hochul hold on to her power? Can the Democrats hold on? If they don't, it's great for us. If they do, it's still not a great loss because it's a Democrat state. We're trying to make it purple. We're trying to make it red, but it is still within their grasp and it's still within, you know, it's in their party. So see if I get to test this. All right, I'm going to test this. Test one, two, three. Test one, two, three. All right. Okay. So I want to make sure that was working. Now, I'm reading old, what's this? U.S. News Decision Point. I I have a Substack and I sometimes cover his articles. Um, to me, he's woke to a certain extent. Sometimes he can be a little in the middle, but these journalists these days, I just don't trust them. Most of them are who you think they are. They're far left or left. So see what old Oliver Knox says. He says the Democrats have a Democrat problem, which is true. I like how him and the editors wrote that. If you look at it, it's November the 3rd. So his article came out November the 3rd. A new poll shows that many of the left are frustrated with the party's strategy. They want the Democrats overall want more fighting. They got no policy of themselves other than hate Trump, do anything that Trump, go against everything that Trump wants to do. And so it says we're 1 year away from the 2026 midterm elections and a day before voters in New Jersey and Virginia elect governors, as a good time as any to assess the political landscape. So he was getting ahead. He was looking at it. He said one takeaway from a new poll is that the Democrat Party has a problem with its own voters. They are so far to the left, it is scaring the establishment Democrat because they can see you go too far to the right, you go too far to the left, you're gonna be alienating the middle, and the middle are these swing voters. And the independent, they may lean to the right, they may lean to the left, but they're independent in that sense. All right, so the survey for the nonpartisan Research Center conducted before the partial government shutdown found a whopping 67% of the Democrats say their own party makes them feel frustrated. 30% go so far as to say they are angry with their side. Ain't doing enough to hate Trump. Ain't doing enough to fight against Trump. That's what they want. The frustration's way up from 2019 and 2021 when 50% was 48, 50% and 48% of Democrats, respectively, said they felt frustrated with their party. So they going off the rails on that. They are saying you're not hating Trump enough. Okay. Why? 41% of Democrats said that their party isn't fighting hard enough against President Trump. Well, what do they want? Across the board, anything Trump does, counter it with something. 13% see a lack of good leadership. 10% complain of a lack of good messaging. Yes, the messaging is wrong, but their message is even wronger. Polling Kirk. We saw something similar in the first polls about Obamacare. Among those expressing opposition to the law were Democrats who felt the Affordable Care Act, a heavily negotiated compromise, neither far right or far left like compromise. They don't know how to stand to govern. This is not a dictatorship. Compromise to overhaul the nation's healthcare system did not go far enough. So you see, there's this great divide between 70 million over here and another 70 million over here, and we're running into trouble. And then on the top of that, the problem is, AQT, the problem is no one is willing to work with the other one, and that is not very good. When you're not willing to work together, even though you may differ, you're going to run into a problem where it ends in bloodshed, like it has with Charlie Kirk and others. So it's amazing how hostile these two camps are becoming. Something to look out for. Um, you have any questions, issues? Please like, subscribe, give me a follow, drop a comment, and let me know what you think. Says on balance, the Pew poll found widespread unhappiness with both parties. 61% of respondents said Republicans are very or somewhat too extreme in their position. Ooh, well, right. 57% said the same about Democrats. If you want more evidence of the Democrats' plight, an October CBS News YouGov poll found 64% of those surveyed use weak as a top word to describe the party. So it is something to behold. Do the parties govern in a ethical way? Just 39% said so about Republicans, and 42% said that accurately describe Democrats. Do they respect the country's democratic institutions and traditions? 44% said Republicans do, while 53% said Democrats do. Uh, they don't have a clue what Democrats are doing then. On the economy, arguably the most crucial issue, Republicans have seen their edge drop considerably from 2 years ago, with 38% of Americans saying they agree with the GOP's economic policies. 35% say the same about Democrats. Only 3% points lower. Republicans had a 12-point lead on this question in 2023. So, are either party representing you? Let me know in the comments. Unhappy with Trump, but not thrilled with Democrats. Thanks to a new Washington Post, ABC News poll, we're getting a clearer picture of voters' views on Trump and what his standing means and doesn't mean. 1 year out from midterms, overall, 41% of Americans say they approve of the job he's doing, with 59% saying they disapprove. That's the highest disapproval since a similar poll 1 week after January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. Like I said, um, he leans to the left, so he's going for these polls. We'll see. what the polls really mean in the coming days. The president doing fine with Republicans at 86% approval. Okay. And he's doing dismally among the Democrats. You think, with 95% of them disapproving. You think, but Trump is struggling with independents among whom he has a 30% approval rating, while 69% disapprove. Again, you have to watch these polls. The polls, the post poll had some pretty bleak findings for Democrats, with 68% of Americans saying the party is out of touch with their lives. True. Why? Transgender issues, um, illegal alien issues, maybe. But we have to watch the polls on even for the Democrats. Are they giving a clear picture? 63% say the same about Trump, with 61% saying so about Republicans. All right. Yeah, all of which leads to the poll findings about which party would win the day if the midterm election was held today. 40%, 46% of registered voters say they support the Democratic candidate in their district, while 44% say the Republicans and 9% say they would not vote. If you do not vote Republicans, you vote for Democrat. Obviously, a lot can and will happen, change before Americans go to vote, but Democrats need to find a way to energize their own voters if they're going to retake the House. Why would he say that if he's neutral? All righty. Things that make you go, hmm. All right. Look at that in a minute. Want to do some more reading here. Then we'll sign off on TikTok because I'm gonna do some videos and you won't be able to hear. No higher job market leaves unemployment in limbo as threats to the economy multiply. The unemployment rate is low and the economy is still growing, but those out of work face the slowest pace of hiring in more than a decade. Some other issues coming up. Let's take a look at the economy and who's hiring and who's getting laid off. Uh, After 700 applications, I've been there. I got over 1,000 out there. She's still looking. Talking about this woman in Kansas, wrapped up in a frustration extended job hunt that is much more difficult when she last looked for a job. So the job market is looking bleak, but it's growing. Hmm. Mandami's New York City win put socialism back in the spotlight. Again, this is from Oliver Knox. While Mandami embraces the social label, some Republicans practice what they preach against. Now that Zoran Mandami resounding electoral victory in New York City, a blue state in a blue city, a sanctuary city, has put a self-described democratic socialist in charge of the country's largest city. We thought it might be time to revisit the topic of socialism in American politics. I won't go too much into that. Let's see. Mondami hasn't been shy about con his connections to socialism. His victory speech, he shouted out King Dibbs, a figure in the American labor union movement in the late 1900s and early 20th century, 19th and excuse me, and early 20th century, and a five-time socialist presidential candidate. Let's start with a working definition. Is government ownership or control of the means of productions. It is it is in opposition to letting regulated free market forces decide the allocation of resources. Those that are going after this, especially in New York, I said this might be just like when Trump was not elected or election was stolen, how you want to look at it, in 2020 made the best for us to get in there on 2024. I hope and pray that Mandami's reign gives us the opportunity to also recover tremendously when it comes to the governorship of New York City because many people don't have a good understanding. Now, some, maybe even most, will say, well, this has happened. It'll work better next time. We need this. What they need is to control a country or the world to implement their program. But then once they do, they have, it's like the Chernobyl. Once they do this, they remove all the safeguards and you have a runaway economy, you have a runaway um, problem because the safeguards is to help stop stupidity. But when you remove the safeguards, then you can't help stupid. And socialism looks good on paper, but it's fiscally stupid. All right, let's start with a working definition. We got that. All right. Socialism, socialism versus capitalism. Mandami, how you pronounce his name, has said his priorities will include a widespread rent freeze, free public transportation, universal child care, and other policies associated with American left. Beautiful, beautiful. You're going to have the least paid, least motivated individuals looking after your children, feeding you, because it's not by competition, it's by DEI allocations. Throughout the New York mayoral race, Mandami's opponents won. He was a socialist or even a Marxist. A throwback to decades of the GOP making the same charges against Democrats and saying social programs like Medicare were a step towards socialism. It was. It is. We owe much to that, to the Cold War, which he's talking about. Will simplify as a pitting a free market democratic America against a socialist authoritarian Soviet Union, but it did not stay there. More than one Republican staffer told me in 2008 that future President Barack Obama was a socialist. And no, Oliver Knox don't believe that. Enter President Donald Trump, who scrambled American politics started in 2015, has forced most Republicans to accept policy that, well, look an awful like the government control over the means of production. No, that's stretching it. But yeah, Trump is exceptional. He blends in, and that's the part that the Democrats don't understand. He takes away a large part of the energy from the left and the right. He's not a true Republican, and they can't understand that. But because he even say caucuses with the Republicans, he is a monster. All right, moving on. Trump has accused boat crews of being narco terrorists. Won't get into that. Maybe later. Uh, Cash-strapped Americans signal rising costs could be Trump's midterm headache. All right. Let's see. Share who say they blame Trump for the current rate of inflation. Democrats, 92%. What a unforeseen percentage. All adults, 59% say a great deal or a good amount. 40% not so much, not at all. Independent and others 66% say it's Trump's fault. 32% say no. Republicans 20% say yes. 79% said no. But they don't understand the terrorists are winning and pushing people, including the Chinese, to the table, bringing back jobs. So, by the grace of God, before the election in 2016, the jobs that and the trillions of dollars that is in the pipeline will manifest itself to save us from a Democratic House of Representatives. We can only pray and we can only work hard to get it there. But they do not understand that the tariffs and the removal of the excess illegal aliens from the United States has a tenfold ability to raise us past this pain period. Okay, more people in the economy illegally here draws on SNAP and welfare. You pull down on the economy, you pull down things. It lower wages, increasing housing, um, all all those schooling, traffic. And once they're gone, the wage goes up because you have less people at a lower wage. You have people demanding more money. So the wages go up. They can't see that. Also, going up to the midterms, what you're looking at, if things work out, the tariffs, he done browbeat the Chinese into submission to a certain. It's a compromise. Don't get me right. Don't get me wrong. He has browbeat everyone in Europe to the table. They're buying our gas. They're buying our oil and getting off of Russia oil and gas, which is they're so intent on defending Ukraine, but you can't defend Ukraine while you buying and purchasing the oil that gives Putin the money to fight you in the end. Okay. So hopefully as things go and get better with the tariffs in effect, we will see a momentum before the midterms that will kickstart the economy and put these crybaby Democrats to sleep. Sorry, I'm not as partial as some of you might want me to be. All right, Democrats dominated Tuesday off-year elections. Dude, it was New York City. Give me a break. Off-year election, that is, and before we go with yesterday's results, a caveat: it is hard to extrapolate larger trends from a small sample size of off-year elections. They're Democratic strongholds. Moving along. A higher reckoning for higher education. Now, this is what I like. This is what I voted for. We have these socialist Marxist strongholds called higher education, universities, colleges. Trump has put them on their heels. You want money from the federal government, you get off this DEI garbage. And they move departments around, they change the names of departments. Same thing with the federal government, but the investigations are going on. They're rooting them out by the grace of God. All right, Trump's heavy hand, as she puts it, in higher education is compounding colleges' financial enrollment. See, these U.S. News decision points are written by, you know, progressives. I'm put it in that way. It's nice as I can. Like colleges and universities are facing an inflection point. Yes, financial pressures have been piling up for a while, and enrollment has been down for over a decade. They need to go back to trade schools. These Marxist socialists poisoning our children is not what we need. With Donald Trump threat to withhold federal funding for colleges and universities that don't sign his compact for academic excellence in higher education. Thank you, Jesus. It's a political choice, a financial one, even a philosophical one. And some have made their decision. Last week, New College of Florida said it was ready to be the first to sign Trump's compact for higher education. We have no affirmative action or DEI, and we have been building a campus where open dialogue and the marketplace of ideas are at the forefront of everything we do. The school president, Richard Corcoran, said in a statement, "We believe a student's success comes from their character and their merit, not their race, gender, or sexual orientation. We would be honored to sign the Trump administration's compact." Thank you, Jesus. All right. You needed someone in there to upend all these institutions, these cesspools, deep state swamps. What's in the compact? Institutions that sign Trump's set of conditions, which represent the priorities of the U.S. government and its engagement with universities that benefit from the relationship, get preferential access to federal funds. Others are free to develop models and values other than those below if the institution elects to forego federal funding. The people of the United States do not need to fund Marxist demagogues in robes and white coats. All right, so moving along. A year ahead of the midterms, America's dim view of both parties. Democrats' frustration with their own party is up sharply, as many say it hasn't pushed back hard enough against Trump. All right, we talked a little bit about that. This is the Pew Research Center. I might get into that later, but for the TikTok people, I'm going to go come to the end of these. So I'm going to sign off for TikTok. I thank you for joining in. Please leave a comment, like, follow, share, and I will appreciate it. And send me a word, and I'll do the same for you. God bless. 20. All right. Now, I'm going to stop this one, and we might, well, let me see. Before I stop, let's do this. Since I can go and now fully concentrate on making this video. Let's see, there we go. Let's take a look at old Mr. Jennings.
Throw this clip to you guys from Scott Jennings over at CNN because he just made the point that you made, Alex, about Mamdani being an actor. He's the greatest actor. He turned himself into a good ornament for the poor and the downtrodden. He's a rich kid who is a great actor. That's what you play actors. Yeah, I'll tell you what. And so I could understand why you'd be leery of it in politics. I'm just saying, there's no other obvious Democrat. He has all the energy behind him. Talk about slicing and dicing the election. He's going to slice it and dice it in one way. Oppressors and oppressed. No. And I want to find out if he has it in him to give it up. I don't think he does, because that's the energy in the Democratic Party. It's oppressors and oppressed. That's why the Jews in the city feel scared, because they know he has labeled them as the oppressors. That's why people who create jobs in New York City are there, because he labels them the oppressors. That is the worldview of the energy of this campaign, and it's also the worldview of the energy of Democratic primaries across the country. You might over 70% of the U.S. population has fluoride added into your body for stage. So it's Clearwave Technologies lab certified hot, cold, and warm. The CodePure.com's lab predict class.
That was a long commercial. So again, good analysis. Scott Jennings is on his feet. He's throwing punches. He's throwing jabs. I love it. He does it all day, every day. And the CNN panel don't have a clue, don't stand, you know, they can't stand their ground against him. It's beautiful.
Violence and how bad we think it's going to get to the backdrop of what I assume we all agree that he just is kind of faking all of this as John said.
Did you catch that stupid Reagan joke that they tried to throw out there? Oh yeah, I just see Reagan an actor in politics. It's just physically painful.
She thought it was a reality TV show joke about Trump. Like
That's what I thought.
yeah,
No, but he's not an actor.
but either way, either
Okay.
no, I know, but like in his head, like oh, you don't want an actor, you have a reality TV host.
I think people like Mamdani and the Democratic Socialist part of the Democratic Party comes from. You saw it in San Francisco with Chesabudin when he was DA. You see in some of these cities, they genuinely believe that criminals are victims. That I was raised poor. I didn't have a good upbringing. Didn't have a dad. What choice did I have? And these are crimes of poverty, not crimes of evil or property. So you should really have sympathy for them. This is why they're talking about defunding the police and replacing them with things like
Yeah.
so there's going to be a lot, and he's going to disproportionately affects minorities, which obviously therefore means it's wrong. So you're going to see he has his way pulling back of the cops on
Mm. Yep. Yep.
premises.
Yep.
So that's what I'm concerned about. We saw this a little bit with Dinkins when he was mayor in 1989 to 93. There were kind of pogroms in Crown Heights. And when that was happening, I remember Dinkins decided to crack down on jaywalking. So that, kind of Seattle, Portland, San Francisco mindset,
Yep.
people who are hurt the most are poor people, especially poor women. And that is who I'm concerned about.
All right. Move to the next one. Let's see. Can we get this one to play?
Hiring has the song remains the same. It looks like hiring has significantly slowed.
Grammarly now uses AI.
Oh, shut up. Forget it then. All right.
Ma'am Danny's NYC win puts socialism back in the spotlight by Olivier Knox.
Come on, Olivia. Oh, that's slow. Speed it up. That's not gonna go. All right, we're moving on. All right, so what we got here?
Yo quería ya la hacienda. Y he ido de lunes a martes sur. Bien. Bueno, y no subió más también. Usted me va a buscar. Yo tampoco. Que ahí, sabe, bien, estamos. Yo lo que estoy como una confusión grande, viendo una angustia, ¿entiendes? Porque uno no sabe qué es lo que es.
All right, so her son got blown up. Um, they covered one part of it. You see that? Yes, Trump is blowing up boats, and 100,000 people are dying. Here we go. Death toll of U.S. military strikes on alleged drug boats. The U.S. executed 16 strikes on alleged drug carrying boats from September the 2nd to November the 4th, killing at least 66 people. Caribbean Sea, new deaths. Eastern Pacific Ocean, new deaths previously reported. All right, so it's growing as you can see. November 1. All right. What else we got here? Yes, it's a sad thing. And allowing drugs and illegals into the country is a sad thing too. when Americans die.
Democrats dominated Tuesday's off-year elections by Cecilia Smith-Skonewalder. It is time to talk about elections. Off-year elections, that is. And before we go on with yesterday's results, a caveat. It is hard to extrapolate larger trends from the small sample size of off-year elections. But it is still worth taking stock of voters' first big chance to weigh in on President Donald Trump's second term. The elections come at a precarious time for the country. The government has been shut down for over a month, threatening food assistance for millions of Americans and leaving hundreds of thousands of federal workers without pay. Cost of living remains top of mind for voters, a majority of whom blame Trump for rising prices. With those issues in mind, voters went to the polls Tuesday and delivered key wins for Democrats. American voters just delivered a Democratic resurgence, Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin said in a statement. A Republican reckoning, a blue sweep. Trump distanced himself from the losses. Trump was not on the ballot and shut down. Were the two REASONS that REPUBLICNS lost ELECTIONS tonight, according to pollsters, he posted on social media. Here are some of the noteworthy votes from yesterday and why they matter. Virginia. Former Democratic Representative Abigail Spanberger beat Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears to flip gubernatorial control in Virginia and become the state's first female governor. She will succeed Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, who faced term limits. The election follows a recent trend in Virginia, where voters tend to elect the opposite party of the president for its governors in the year following a presidential election. Spanberger's anti-Trump campaign recently focused on the disproportionate effect of the government shutdown on Virginia. New York City. In New York City, Zoran Mamdani defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo to become mayor-elect. The Democratic Socialists' campaign drew national attention, including from Trump, who threatened to withhold federal funds from New York if Mamdani won.
Hope it does.
Donald Trump, since I know you are watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up, Mamdani said in his victory speech.
Whatever.
Fixture in the Democratic Party, ran as an independent after losing to Mamdani in the Democratic primary. New Jersey. Democrats clinched another gubernatorial race in New Jersey with a double-digit margin. Democratic Representative Mickey Sherrill outpolled Trump-endorsed Republican Jack Ciattarelli. The race was considered one of Republicans' best shots for off-year elections, as Ciattarelli was just 3 percentage points short of ousting Governor Phil Murphy 4 years ago in the 2021 governor's race. California. In California, voters approved a ballot measure to redraw congressional district boundaries that will give Democrats a boost in their efforts to regain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Proposition 50 could give Democrats as many as 5 additional seats. It would be enough to counter a similar move by Texas Republicans to redraw their maps to gain GOP seats at Trump's urging. The results are a major win for California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been an aggressive adversary of Trump ahead of a potential 2028 presidential run. Pennsylvania. Voters preserved Democrats' high court majority in this critical swing state, retaining 3 state Supreme Court seats. Justices Christine Donoghue, Kevin Dougherty, and David Wecht. The race drew widespread attention, including from Trump, who posted on social media Sunday night. Vote no, no, no on liberal justices Donoghue, Dougherty, and Wecht. The wins in the yes or no retention. Vote award all 3 justices new 10-year terms.
All right, we're done with that one. What do you think? Leave me a word or two. Did we do this one?
A Reckoning for Higher Education by Cecilia Smith-Skonewalder. Colleges and universities are facing an inflection point. Yes, financial pressures have been piling up for a while, and enrollment has been down for over a decade. But this year marks one of the largest reckonings they have seen so far, with President Donald Trump's threat to withhold federal funding for colleges and universities that do not sign his Compact for Academic Excellence in Higher Education.
Yes, sir.
A financial one, even a philosophical one, and some have made their decision. Last week, New College of Florida said it was ready to be the first to sign Trump's compact for higher education.
Thank you.
We have action DEI, and we have been building a campus where open dialogue and the marketplace of ideas are at the forefront of everything we do.
Yes, yes.
Richard Corcoran said in a statement, "We believe a student's success comes from their character and their merit, not their race, gender, or sexual orientation, and we would be honored to sign the Trump administration's compact." A day later, Valley Forge Military College, a private 2-year college in Pennsylvania, followed suit. What is in the compact? Institutions that sign Trump's set of conditions, which represents the priorities of the U.S. government in its engagements with universities that benefit from the relationship.
The people.
Others are free to develop models and values other than those below, if the institution elects to forgo federal benefits, the compact states. Here is what the Trump Compact requires of its signatories. Commit to transforming or abolishing institutional units.
Yes.
And even spark violence.
Yes.
Acknowledge that the freedom to debate requires civility.
Yes.
Universities shall neither support nor permit a heckler's veto through, for example, disruptions, violence, intimidation, or vandalism. Maintain policies that all university employees, in their capacity as university representatives, will abstain from actions or speech relating to societal and political events, except in cases in which external events have a direct impact upon the university. Commit to defining and otherwise interpreting male, female, woman, and man according to reproductive function and
Yes. Yes.
immutable characteristics, particularly race, do not permit unequal treatment, including in grading as well as access to buildings, spaces, scholarships, programming, and other university resources.
Yes.
Commit to freezing the effective tuition rates charged to American students for the next 5 years. Share all known information about foreign students, including discipline records, upon request and as relevant, with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State.
Yes.
The compact initially went out to a small list of colleges, none of which signed it. The White House is reportedly expected to circulate a new draft of the compact this month. A bold ask, but not the first or the last. It is one of the boldest steps taken by the Trump administration to reshape higher education.
Thank you.
Which social media has lost its way.
Yes.
Society, socialist.
Yes. Yes.
As president, Trump has leveraged the power of the federal government to threaten funding and restrict foreign student status.
Good.
Demanding an unlimited university admissions, curriculum, and
You're taking the money.
climate change.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Education and
Yes.
for more detail on the Trump administration's crackdown on higher education, check out the U.S. News Tracker.
Yes. U.S. News. Garbage. All right. We already talked about that. Won't go too far into that. See if we can get another one in here.
And just to think that people like Zoran Mamdani, the new mayor of New York City, he wants to tax people even more. You made $1.5 million. Adam, you can't participate in this for a second. Just hear me out. If you made $1.5 million, I'm gonna spend it. In New York City, if you made $1.5 million, how much do you think you keep? From $1.5 million, yeah. We have a progressive tax, so just kind of think about what do you think it'll be that you take home. To take home net take home pay 35 to 40%. No. So that's gonna be it's gonna be more than that. But what do you just give me a dollar amount? What do you think that you take home? Out of that? 1.5 million. Tom, what do you think you take home? 1.1? Around 700,000. Okay, watch this clip. Go ahead, Rob.
That's what a $1.5 million salary looks like in New York City. See, that's how much it costs. If you live in New York City, that's a huge saving. 70%.
Woo!
$78.
Little less than that. Little less than that.
$57,705.
Just live in Jersey. Paid family leave, it's a fraction. It's only $355. Still, it's money. That comes to a total tax percentage of 50.2%, which is 750.
Woo. Man, that's why I live in Florida. Thank you, Lord.
Making appointment.
I like this guy. Of course, there's other attorneys out there. Some good, but they there's too many Trump haters, and he's not a Trump hater. And he's a lawyer, and he has a good show going. I'm,
Until the court picks someone that he likes. Now, that regime is profoundly destabilizing. Then the one where the attorney general and the district court make simultaneous picks and the attorney general's pick prevails. Lots more, we're working together. Courts should strive to avoid, not embrace, these interbranch conflicts. This raises serious separation of powers issues. Now, this case illustrates the dangers right here. Presumably because the previous interim U.S. attorney was appointed by the Eastern District, those judges on their own, sua sponte, transferred the present motions to this court. Other courts have felt compelled to transfer similar cases, and courts should avoid an interpretation that would routinely put themselves in an uncomfortable position. You're not supposed to be in the middle of the conflict. Instead, consistent with the Constitution and the Appointments Clause and the separation of powers, Congress gave the courts only a narrow but important role of making the seat filled when political branches ultimately fail to act. The president, of course, remains free
all right.
to.
They are fighting Trump on every avenue. His appointments and these judges are going against his appointments, and it may be some legal ground. We'll see in the end, but they're trying to slow his roll. And they, they are winning to a certain extent, but the thing is, the steamroll, thank God, is still chugging away. The federal government is still chugging away. Um, they put the apparatus in there, and we are using it. Now, what we got? Yes,
That she's going to be running governor right after. So, as you all know, state governors in this country overpower mayors.
correct.
It's
Maybe.
Stefani's first match.
Setting people on fire. God have mercy. Wow.
consequences of Kathy Hochul's failed policies. State
Single party Democrat rule
sanity in our schools, stood proudly with law enforcement, championed small businesses, and never backed down from fighting for thing on the line. Someone says, and they safe for families and small businesses to not just survive, but thrive. Stefani, tweet the Opal's catastrophe and restore its greatness. Stefani for governor. It's time to save.
And that is a good ad. I like to point out that is a good ad. Definitely clueless.
They just don't matter. To at least Stefani is saying, I'm going to make living more affordable and I'm going to make you safe. It's a very simple campaign message, and I think it has a massive chance to win. We conducted a poll before she announced this run. The poll results are pretty shocking.
So poll taken before Mamdani's victory is
Sweet.
in 2002.
That was an outlier. Look at this. Just Republicans can't win. Look how close Zeldin came to defeating Kathy Hochul. She was at 53%, basically 47%. We're talking about the same Lee Zeldin who voted to decertify, stood by Trump even after J6. The same Lee Zeldin is now part of the Trump administration. So it's not like Chris Christie sort of Republican, that he came within 5 points. Comparatively, Zeldin's results to is at 59%. His Republican opponent is at 36%. 23 points, ladies and gentlemen. His running mate, Kathy Hochul, 4 years last, turnout was virtually the same. The difference is a lot of Democrat voters stayed at home, and a lot of voters completely switched their votes. 2014 with really low turnout. Notice how the New York governor's race always seems to have lower turnout, because the idea is that the mayor of the city is more important than the governor of New York State, but technically the governor has more power. Think of this, 33% turnout in 2014, and look at the difference, 14 points. The Republican is nowhere close. Here's how I'm optimistically viewing this race. A lot of Republican voters are going to be energized, and a lot of Democrat voters who live in New York City are going to feel like, well, we already voted for a Democrat mayor. We don't really care that much who runs state government, and they're just going to stay at home. And at least Stefanik to pull off the historic upset. Definitely going to be a lot closer than Zeldin, for sure, even if she loses. Now, here's another thing that would work to at least Stefanik's benefit. She is somebody who I view spiritually extreme. That's why I would describe her as a star. She's very much a star.
Spiritually Israeli, whatever that means. Now, establishment Republican, I can understand. Um, Least favorite, sort of a rhino, I would say, was better at this staging point than another Democrat, and she could hold the communists in New York to some lesser damage. and point out different things. It could be a good rough ride for him.
This position, constituents in the current congressional. He's not someone that's necessarily a scientist. So
Maybe, maybe.
show lose Democrat support.
Yes.
She's going to be so.
I hope so.
They don't have enough numbers in the Senate. If she ends up winning that, I'm sure. Democrats more Senate seat by the veto. They need 2/3, 41 falls short. Republicans pick up 5 seats in the Senate. It gives them a lot of leverage. They would squeeze compromises out of the Democrat majority. In the state house, have the two-thirds. Sure, if she wins, as I've demonstrated, she has a huge chance.
I hope she does. Good point.
Kind of like black last 50 years, but I would expect someone like Stefanik is going to draw a lot of them in. I'd like to know in the comments, you contract the same level of excitement that I have.
Not yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Different races across the state legislature matters a lot. Their endorsement could get Republicans closer to flipping the state legislature. Who knows? What if Chuck Schumer retires?
Yeah.
Conservatives that fled to other states back, then suddenly New York is the solid battleground state of the nation. It's not a foregone conclusion. Democrats are going
All right, that was good. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being here, and hope to get back with you sometime today.